All right. Welcome into the first episode of Inside the Bullring, brought to you by the Woodhull Raceway here on the Woodhull Raceway Facebook page. We're going to go ahead and get our audience built back up here. We did try this once already tonight. Had a little bit of technical difficulties. The motor mouth of the show, nobody could hear me. So we're going to try this again with all the show's voices as everybody's starting to jump into the show. Welcome aboard, everybody. We're just about ready to get started here. And it looks like the sound is good this time. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm the host of Inside the Bullring, Steve Ovens, joined alongside by my fearless co-pilots here, Kim Symonds, who works as our... Kim, do we have there's so many hats you wear on race night. Do they have a set title for you at the track?
Not quite sure. I just go with the lineup person.
Okay. All right. That's what we'll go with officially. And then of course our media intern Megan Dupuy joining us from her residence in Watkins Glen. That's the beauty of the internet. We can do these things from all over the place. Megan, welcome aboard.
Thanks.
She's not joining us this time from Florida. You're actually back in New York, so.
I'm back in New York, and I still want to be in vacation mode, but I'm slowly getting back into work mode.
All right. And how slow is that? I think I know that Mondays are not usually a good day for me.
Well, I had work this morning at 5 a.m., and I had to stop at Dunkin' and get a coffee with a turbo shot in it. So that's how my Monday's going.
All right. Well, let's make Mondays a little bit more tolerable here and talk a little dirt track racing, shall we? And folks, if you're tuning in and listening, go ahead and give us a comment if you're hearing things okay and things look and sound okay, as we had a little technical difficulty to start our night with anyway. I see some folks joining in on the conversation, and it looks like, hey, winner of the Bullring Challenge from last September, Corey Costa, tuning in to Inside the Bullring here tonight. But let's go ahead and get started. And our first topic of the night, as voted on by the great fans of the Woodhull Raceway on our Facebook page, that was, of course, the opening topic for tonight. The update on everything that's happening at the track as far as the pits, the track, the grounds, parking lot, everything of that sort. And so we're going to give you a little bit of an update on that right now. So what we're looking at is, I just talked to Ted White this afternoon. I was up at the track, did a live video at the track Friday afternoon after I got out of work. And, you know, the track obviously looked like it was a little bit wet. The track didn't look that bad, though. There was a lot of people commenting on that video saying, hey, put the Packer trucks out there and let's go. So, you know, obviously the track was a lot closer, but the grounds were a little bit wet. The pits were a little bit soft. But I just talked to Ted White this afternoon, and over the course of the weekend, you know, we've obviously had some warmer weather. I know some folks in that area, and even here at my place in Horseheads, we woke up to some snow. But I just talked to Ted this afternoon, and he's really confident that, you know, we're not only going to get the first week of racing in on April 14th, but he's fairly optimistic that we've got a shot at running practice on Saturday. Now, of course, that's going to depend on how the rest of this week goes in terms of weather, and not only the weather temperature, but how much wind there is to go with that higher temperature. And that's what we're looking at right now. We need a little bit of Mother Nature working with us, and we could actually get practice in on Saturday. That's what we're hoping for. He said that we'll do some kind of update on Wednesday night for everybody to kind of see where we're at. I'll throw a graphic up here now of from the video that I took on Friday, and you can see that the track's got some moisture in it, obviously, from all the snow that melted. But what you can see up on the top of turns 1 and 2 was there was a little bit of snow up on the upper edge in between the track and that guardrail up on turns 1 and 2. Now that I've got the graphic up here, I want to do a little test for the folks that are listening to us tonight. If you can still hear me while this graphic is up, throw a comment in the chat box and let us know that you can still hear us. That was one of the problems we were having on our first go-around here tonight, was it seemed like when we put a graphic up that everybody was kind of losing us on the audio side. So let me know as you take a look at the track, and now I'll put up a photo from the video I took on Friday of kind of how wet the grounds were out on the midway, out behind the grandstands. Sounds like everybody's still hearing us pretty good with the photo, so that's good. I'm glad to hear that. So now you can see up on the video, if you're following us on the Facebook page, that there was definitely a lot of wet wet grounds out behind the grandstands. So. But in the course of a couple days, there's been some improvement there. Again, this is all going to depend on what the weather does from here on out the rest of the week. But when I was there Friday, I didn't think there was any chance at all of practice. And I honestly thought that the first week of racing might be in question. And after talking to Ted, what they're seeing this afternoon, they're pretty confident that obviously the first week of racing should be pretty good, dependent on weather, of course, and then we'll see what practice does for this week. So for the folks that have been messaging the Facebook page or sending us emails, we really appreciate the contact. But just stay tuned to the Facebook page is really the best advice I can give for the rest of the week, as well as the website. We'll have some kind of update, hopefully, on Wednesday to see what happens. I see Steve Williams is commenting on there. That things seem to be drying up pretty good, but again, if we get any of the rain that they're calling for this week, that might set us back a little bit. So we'll certainly see what happens there. Megan, something that you and I were conversing about the first time we tried the video tonight, I almost lost my train of thought there. These early shows, you never really know what you're going to get. You and I both know it as racers in the past that April is always, you're not really sure.
You aren't. And I remember way back when I was in middle school, which really wasn't that long ago, but was there would be people trying to run shows at the end of March, and they would always get canceled because the track wouldn't be dried out. There'd still be snow. It would be just water puddles everywhere, and you always get your hopes up thinking, yes, it's finally going to be race season. But eventually, after a while, you kind of get to realize that usually the first couple of weeks get canceled.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to end up with for sure, and that's kind of the situation that we're in. And if you look at last year, if I remember right, I think we might have lost practice night to weather, if I remember right. I think that might have gotten rained out. I'd have to go back.
I don't remember.
I know we got the first week of racing in, and we had some really mild weather last spring to kind of get the season started, but that was kind of a one-off, not necessarily the trend, so to speak.
Right.
But now, something that a fan asked on our first go-around here tonight on the video was asking, what's the hardest part about getting ready for the season? And Megan, I liked your answer because you kind of have a unique perspective, being our media intern at the track and looking, a lot at the PR side and media content side of what we do at Woodhull. So I would love if you could explain again kind of some of the things that in your role at the track that you're looking at as we get ready to start the season.
Yeah, so it's gonna be my third season, so I've kind of like got the hang of things for the most part. Like I kind of know what I'm gonna be going in and I'm gonna be doing and what we're looking for in a sense of media and PR. Obviously, I still have a whole lot to learn, and I'm nowhere near like perfect. But like going in, like if I want to switch it up, like instead of doing driver profiles every week, maybe mix it up with some other type of article. Um, I've been thinking, I know that the fans really like the driver profiles, and I really like writing them. It's pretty cool to be able to tell people that I interview like drivers on a weekly basis and then write articles about the interview. But then like there's the getting used to everybody racing again and learning the new drivers' names and their car numbers and the classes, and that kind of piggybacks on what Kim does as our lineup producer person.
That's that's the name we came up with tonight.
Yes.
Is lineup producer. I like it.
I do too. It fits her well.
So we're talking about the track and things drying up, and one thing that that I did today was I took a little screenshot of the weather forecast coming up for Woodhull. So if you're interested in what we're looking at weather-wise, I mean, in terms of warmer temperatures for the first part of the week, we're looking pretty good. The thing that might be a little concerning is some of the wet weather and the cold that's coming in. So, we'll see how this week plays out. But that was just after lunchtime today, taking a look at what we're looking at weather-wise. But let's go ahead and move on. And I want to try something again here that we had trouble in the first video. So the folks that are tuning in tonight, I'm going to throw up a slideshow of some photos that fans brought in for us on the Woodhull Facebook page. And so as these photos go through here, I'm going to type in here, let's see, showing photos from the mall. Still hear audio okay. So I'll throw that comment in here, and looks like Adam already commented for us.
Yeah, he said he can still hear us.
All right, that's good. Okay, so I think we definitely fixed whatever happened there that first time that we did episode 1 here. That's going to end up being a lost episode, I think we'll call it. But
It can be trial run number 2.
yeah. So these photos, all fan submitted photos on the Facebook page, and there's a lot of good ones in here. One that's flipping through now is Rick Amadon and Brody with the 2 car. That came out really, really sharp. They got the Hartman machine in here as well. And so there's a lot of good photos that are going to flip through here. As a couple weeks ago was our mall show. At the Arnett Mall on St. Patrick's Day weekend. So that was kind of the unofficial kickoff to the season. And for some of the folks that are saying that sometimes it cuts in and out, I'm almost wondering if sometimes that is maybe cell service or Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, because I'm having the same issue with our connection. It'll just kind of cut out and then it'll come back in.
Okay. So that'll be something that we can kind of take a look at as we move forward. But so some of the photos rolling through here that were posted on that page. Something else of interest: recently we announced the purses for each division for this season. So I'm going to throw that graphic up here. This one was a little tricky to try and make fit in the whole screen. I think you'll be able to see it pretty well, though. here in the video. But we have that posted up on the website. Of course, that is woodhullraceway.com. And so all the purses for all divisions are listed on the website. You can take a look at those. And so I'm going to take a look here. I'll leave that purse posted up here for just a second. Got a question coming in. And that is this a podcast as well or just on Facebook Live? And Rob, the answer to that is it's kind of both. We're doing this on Facebook Live. I'm also recording this here in the studio, and I'm going to post these on YouTube so that in case you want to go back and listen to an episode that you missed, or you want to go and listen to an interview that we had, you'll be able to go on YouTube and just search Woodhull Raceway Media, or just search Woodhull Raceway, and you'll find our YouTube page. These will be posted a day or two after we do them live on Monday night. Obviously, what we'll do after the live show is done, we'll pin this up to the top of the track Facebook page. You'll be able to find it there. But then, like I said, if you want to go back through and find other shows, we'll have them up on the YouTube page as well. So I've got the division purses listed up there. Something else that's coming up here this season is, of course, the Street Stock Series. We've got a challenge series this year, 3 races for our Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks. And so we've got 3 big races for these guys coming up. April 21st is the first one, $400 to win, $50 to start on that show. August 8th, we've got another $500 to win show, $50 to start. And that, of course, falls on the Short Track Super Series night, which is coming up on Wednesday, August 8th. So that's a change this year. The Short Track Super Series show moves to a Wednesday. As the last 2 years in a row, we've had rain on Tuesday and had to run it on Wednesday. So now we're going to try Wednesday and try and fake out Mother Nature here in 2018.
All I can say to that is I'm still taking 2 days off because the past 2 years I have not taken the 2 days off. And I've ended up having to call in the second day because the rain has canceled it. And thankfully, my bosses are really cool about it. And they're like, oh, no big deal. We'll just take you off the schedule. But lesson learned this year.
Yeah. Kim, I was just talking about the Street Stock Series that we've got coming up this year. Obviously, I know that I'm sure Tracy's got to be looking forward to that. A couple of big money shows for our Street Stocks and our 100-lapper, of course.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. I know we tried to do a couple, was it Dash for Cashes last year? Those, I don't know, I thoroughly enjoy that because the street stock class is quite competitive. I mean, there isn't necessarily one bad person or anything like that. They're all top notch.
Absolutely. We've got some more questions rolling in here. I'll leave this street stock one up here. The third street stock race will be September 22nd. That's the Woodhull 100. It goes back to an event that'll be run by the track at Woodhull Raceway. So the Woodhull 100 comes back September 22nd. $1,000 to win, $100 to start for the street stocks. So let's take a look. Let's take a look through the comments here. Kim, do you see anything of interest here? Looks like maybe Les had a question. Les Smith?
Yep, I addressed that.
All right.
Yeah, we don't have a set schedule. It changes quite frequently.
Yes. So like our order of events for the night.
Correct.
Yep. So that does typically change. And something that we were talking about actually at the mall show, now that you talk about order of events, there was a couple times that we had our street stock guys that also run late model. I know that, when you're putting this together, Kim and I talk about this almost every week of trying to figure out what the right lineup is, because there's so many things that you have to factor in. In terms of the surface and making sure that you have the right combination of, cars that have big tires and cars that have smaller tires, making sure that everybody has a great surface to work with all night long. And then you take into account you've got guys that double up on classes, so you have to consider that. And for our Warrior youth class, some of those are youth drivers. Also, that car is running the adult division, whether it be front-wheel drive or mini stock. So we have to take that into consideration as well when we come up with our nightly lineup. But yeah, that's always something that you have to take into consideration for sure. Now, Les Smith asked that question, so I'm going to go ahead and throw up a graphic here of Les's hobby stock, as he was the winner of Best in Show at the mall show here a couple weeks ago. And there's a shot of Les, crew, and car. And that car was super sharp. We talked about this on our test run last week. And that car came out so well. It's almost a shame that he's going to put that car on the racetrack and go race it, because that thing just looks so good. So we'll certainly look forward to seeing him a part of that. We talked about the Street Stock Series. I'm going to throw up now the purse for the CB Motorsports Bears Auto Body Front-Wheel Drive Challenge. I know that there's a lot of front-wheel drive guys that were down competing down at Screven this past weekend, and we're hoping to see some of those guys with us for our opening show on April 14th. This is the Front Wheel Drive Challenge Series, 4 races. The first 3, $400 to win, $50 to start. And for the front wheel drive guys, that's big. That's really, really big. Not only Cody Baker, Adam Del Grosso, and a few other of our front wheel drive contingent really, really doing a nice job of trying to promote this series and get some cars that are, kind of outside of our area to come in and compete for this. I mean, you look at it, the very first show is April 14th, and then the next one doesn't come until September after the point season is over. So we're going to get one in before some places start racing for points, and then we're going to get the last 3 in after most places typically end their point races. So that should be pretty good there. $400 to win, $50 to start on those first 3, and then we'll also have the $1,000 to win championship race on September 29th. That's $1,000 to win, $50 to start. Just an incredible purse that's been put up by CB Motorsports, Bears Auto Body. Shout out to Bears Auto Body. They're also sponsoring the front wheel drive division in 2018. So thanks to those guys. Megan, the front wheel drive class, that's one of the classes that we, have worked with you on getting on the microphone with during the course of the season. And
Yes.
regardless of how many cars are on the track, they always put on a good show.
It's always amazing. And something that I do that most people might not realize is while the races are going on, I'll help Steve by taking notes on what's going on during the races. So sometimes the front wheel drive class is my longest page of notes because there's just so much going on that it'll be 2-3 pages. And then when I'm in there announcing, it's kind of I try to go. I'm still learning on how to keep talking about things, but we're getting there. But at least when I'm sitting there trying to take notes, it's so action-packed. It's great. I love the show that they put on.
They really do. They put on a nice show. We talked a little bit about our schedule. I've got a little graphic that I'll throw up here on the page for everybody to see. Kind of the first 2 months of racing action for us is what we're looking at here to start the season. We started off on April 14th with $1,000 to win for the crate late models. We're going to talk a lot more about that on next Monday night's show, as well as the first challenge race for the front wheel drives. $1,000 to win for the crate sportsman on April 21st, and the first of the Street Stock Challenge series. The modifieds kick off on April 28th, and so that's what we're looking at for the first month of racing at the track. Well, the modifieds won't start until April 28th, and that's typical of the schedule that we've seen over the course of quite a while, actually. The modifieds kind of getting that first 2 weeks off, and then they kick off at the end of April. So that should be fun. May 5th, I'll just point this out real quick. We're going to have a bedsheet banner contest on May 5th with KB. And how appropriate. It's on KB Graphics night. We're going to have a bedsheet banner contest right on the front stretch in front of the flag stand. So that'll be fun. KB Graphics and Kickin' Country will be on board for that show. We have got things that we're going to talk about on next week's show. We're going to go over the sign-in procedures with Kim. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the points, how the points will work this year. We'll talk about the handicap and kind of go over how that's going to work, as we have made a tweak as to how we calculate the handicap each week. But we are going to wrap this episode up here, and we want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Kim Symonds. I want to thank Megan Dupuy for joining me on the program tonight. We'll be here with you each and every Monday at 6 o'clock right here on the Woodhull Facebook page. Keep those comments coming. Share the video. Encourage other race fans to like our page. Like I said, we'll be here with you each and every Monday night at 6 p.m. right here on the Woodhull Raceway Facebook page. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you next Monday night.